Hello everyone, today we are with Shani from AppsFlyer. He is the Director of Global Content and Market Insight, and today we'll talk about the AppsFlyer Performance Index, the industry standard report card on the performance of mobile media sources since 2015, which recently came out in its 17th edition. We are going to go through the latest insight from the new index to see which media sources perform best in UA, super useful for UA, and I hope you have a good one. Hello, Shani. Super nice to see you today. I'm really excited. We are speaking about the performance index, and I'm with the creator of the performance index. So, Shani, welcome abroad, and please tell us a bit more about yourself.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I'm Shani. I have been at AppsFlyer for a very long time, almost. Actually, in a few months, it's going to be 10 years. I mean, unbelievable. Um, I joined the company when we were just like 50 something employees, and now we're, I don't know, stop counting, maybe like 1,500. So it's been a wild journey. I've seen every single variation and change in the industry, and it's been really exciting. Yeah. Other than that, really happy to be here, and let's talk about some of the index stuff.
Yes, I'm excited to have you because I've been following it so much, and actually, I never, I think I wasn't there for the first one, or I maybe I missed it. So today we are here to speak about the evolution of the report and chat about the performance index legacy. So, since how long does it exist, Shani, actually, and why did this report even exist at the time?
Yeah, good question. So I joined AppsFlyer in February 2015, and as I said, and uh, soon you'll see I have a surprise because I'll show you the first index, which came out in Q3 or towards the end of 2015. So basically what that means is that pretty quickly I realized that, wait a second, we are an attribution company, AppsFlyer. We are a leading attribution company. And attribution is all about a view from above, right? We are the only ones that have the view from above. And we look at all, and we have all these partners, and we have performance marketers as our clients. So it 1 + 1 + 1 = 3, right? So it very quickly it made sense to me to create some sort of ranking, some sort of performance ranking that ranks media sources, ranks partners, and because I come from a content background, but data is very close to my heart, and I've done a lot of stuff with data as a way to do basically content marketing and thought leadership. So this is why we started working on this index right away. And maybe I'll show you the first index, and we can start with that.
Let's go with it.
Okay, this is going to be quite a shock to some of you if you've been around for many years, but this was edition number 1. Right here, yes. I hope the designer, our lead designer, doesn't kill me for showing such old imagery, but this is, as you can see, for gaming apps, Q3 2015. This was the AppsFlyer Performance Index edition number 1. We didn't even write edition 1 because it was the first one. We didn't know if there was going to be number 2, and now we're already at number 17. But yeah, in general, I want to start with this. I think this is really interesting, just to show the kind of like how the landscape changed so much in 10 years. Where, well, 10 years is a long time, especially in mobile. We actually counted it before the talk, and we saw that like only about 10 media sources still exist today. Whether networks are no longer with us because of various reasons, probably a lot of, again, when fraud started picking up, and a lot of the industry changed, and fraud detection, also consolidation, mergers, right? We see Vungle, AdColony, Supersonic, which merged into ironSource, all these, and ironSource into Unity, and all these mergers and acquisitions. So it's really very much different. This is the Android ranking. Okay, you can see here the Android ranking. This is the iOS ranking. So really
Anyways, we used to have data.
a
I mean,
lot of
actually,
a lot of networks that are no longer with us, and it's just interesting to see. And again, if you look at, right, fast forward 10 years, then we have this, right? The new index, it's a whole website. And I think the most interesting thing, and again, a really important evolution of the index is the name of the game is granularity,
Yeah.
right? And it's all based on scale of data, right? Because we are very strict about the scale of data, okay? And because we want to show a picture that is going to be representative of the market, we need to make sure in all our data reports that there's significant scale and statistical significance. And this is why, in 2015, the company was still a young company, like I said, of 50-something employees. We only had basically two rankings, a global ranking for all games together combined, for all the countries, one for iOS, one for Android. That's it.
Okay, perfect. So you say you are a data guy, and I hear you. I love it. I'm a UA person, so perfect. So how did it change on iOS? Is it still the same way you are, aggregating the data? What is the methodology there? Did it even evolve?
Today, iOS, you mean, how it
Yes.
evolved?
Yes.
Yes, it evolved significantly. So I'll touch on that in a second. I just want to show you again the type of granularity. Today, we have hundreds of slicers, hundreds, okay, across genres, subgenres, countries, regions. It's completely changed, and we have, and this is of course really important to you guys, right? Performance marketers. It's all about granularity. But this was my approach was something is better than nothing. And even
Mm.
if this was a global report on all games together, at least it was something because there was nothing up until that point. So as we moved along and had more and got more and more data, the index became bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's why we can't actually create a PDF, because if we create a PDF from all the possibilities here, we have a PDF of 500 pages, right? So yeah.
Crazy.
Okay, so just before I get into iOS, just a very quick reminder about the methodology here and what the power ranking and the volume ranking is. The idea is, and this by the way is pretty much the same. It's about combining scale and quality and quantity. When we look at quantity scale, we look at the number of attributed installs as the biggest factor, and but also the number of clients running with a media source. When we look at a power ranking, we look at a combination of the volume and the quality ranking. The quality ranking is pretty much dependent on a very robust retention score, where we compare every single day of retention from day 1 to day 30 and compare that to the organic retention of that slice. Okay? And the longer the days, the more weight it has in the formula. So the comparison to organic is very important because some apps are great, some apps are not great, and there's only so much the media source can do. But if you compare it to the organic, then you get a much better picture of the delta and the real performance of the media source. So, and this is similar between Android and iOS. Okay, you asked about iOS today. Of course, there have been many changes with iOS because of the privacy and scan and everything. Today, what we're doing with iOS is that we are basically calling it the iOS, as you can see, iOS SSOT index. This is a single source of truth. It's based on our unique way of looking at iOS installs, where basically we deduplicate. It's a very robust technology. I'm not going to start trying to explain it now, but at the end of the day, it's about taking scan installs, taking AppsFlyer attribution, and deduping between them, and to get a higher number. Okay, and this is how you can decrease your eCPI. You can increase the number of attributed installs, and this is what we use to count the installs. And because scan, of course, does not offer any geo data, as you can see, the index is geo-based. Then we basically look at the consenting user cohort, which is not a small cohort because we see about 25% of users consenting with an IDFA. And therefore, we're able to look at the geo distribution and adjust accordingly. So for instance, if, for example, Brazil is 10% of the global iOS installs on consenting users, then we assume it's the same for scan. And also the quality. We look at consenting users as a large enough cohort to provide the quality calculations.
Yes, makes total sense. And I think it's really great that you adapted the methodology because so many things change. Like even network wise, I'm having a look at it. Like search ads wasn't there in the first one. Moloco programmatic channels they spiked up lately, and it's really incredible. But there is a lot of information. So you are the creator of the report. So tell us what is the best way to read it. If tomorrow I'm a UA manager, I have my campaigns. Let's say I work in gaming. How should I read the report?
Right. So first of all, I want to say very important. Again, this is we look at all the apps, okay? And again, with sample is really important, like I said, and the sample is huge. Okay, we're talking about 35,000 apps, 13.5 billion installs. So this is a massive, massive sample. Having said that, it's still some sort of aggregate across different apps. Every app is unique. I don't like to say to people, you must put all your money on Apple search ads or AppLovin or Google or Moloco. I say, at the very least, this is a direction for exploration. Okay, and from there, this is, and it's really important because this is the starting point. But I encourage everyone to again test it out, explore, and then double down where you see the performance. You know, providing the right numbers. So the way to look at it again is first to look at your slicers. There are a few ways to look at this. First, you have what you have, right? You run in certain geos, you run with certain markets. Does it match? Does the ranking here, if you choose, I don't know, you have a casino app and you want to look at North America, does it match? Is this what you're seeing? Again, there's volume and power, right? The power is the main ranking. Does this match what you see? If not, perhaps adjust accordingly, like modify what you can accordingly to see if things can improve. I
It
think
actually
another
does
thing,
match.
yeah,
I mean, if I take my case, it
yeah.
matched perfectly. I think search ads definitely more challenging, but AppLovin, of course, has been spiking up for casual, but also casino games. Unity has been incredibly rising as well lately. So for me, it matched at least. So it sounds correct.
Well, again, but these are the top ones, right? We go all the way down to at least, and this is just a global one. Well, we can go deeper, like if we go into casual, for instance, and a global, we have more. So there are a
Yeah.
lot of networks. Some of them maybe you haven't heard of. I encourage you to test them out. So this is about discovery, right? That's the second thing, discovery of new channels, new media sources that you are not running with. And if they're performing well and they're in the index, definitely consider testing. And another thing to explore is just a small side note, because it's also part of what we call the AppsFlyer Performance Index. A few years ago, we started also running what we call a country index, right? Because at the end of the day, marketers want to understand, okay, which channels to run, which media sources to run with, and where, which geos, right? And again, among apps that are looking for geo expansion. And this is why we created the country index, right? This is the country index. It's also, you can Google AppsFlyer country index. There's a link in the main index where, again, we show by slice, by platform, we show the top performing countries. Okay, high
Nice.
performing and low performing equally important, right? Where not to run. This is not just based on performance. Okay, very important to realize. That's why the United States will not always be at the top.
Mm.
It's about the CPI. It's about the level of competition. Sometimes, the US is a tough market because it's super, super competitive. So we factored, and again, you can read the methodology, but we factored many, many factors, into this formula to try to estimate where marketers should start running campaigns. And again, not looking just at performance. Okay, therefore,
Yeah.
you can see countries here that perhaps you're like, okay, why is Turkey or Morocco ranked in the top 10, not necessarily, tier one markets? Because we identified potential. Okay, so a lot of
Yeah.
it is about potential.
I love
That's pretty much it.
actually, was it in the first one? Was it in the first report as well, the countries or not?
No. The countries, we started the country index doing it 2 years ago. And
Nice.
basically what we do now, we do two indexes a year, okay? But one media source index, which is just what just came out, number 17. And the second index is the country index. So every 6 months, but media source index and country index only once a year.
Okay. Shani, between us, it's not recorded at all, of course, but is it
Recorded.
sponsored or is it like
Oh
when
God,
you're
no.
not sponsored, you guys do what you want?
I would like the AppsFlyer. First of all, the we are one of our main pillars, and it always been actually our number one pillar. And Owen, our CEO, has been speaking about it since the company was founded. Is unbiased, unbiased. Okay, without that, it's useless. So obviously, zero sponsorship. No.
Perfect, love this. And we see it actually. Some are up, some are down, some are newcomers, some I don't even know them, and I'm not sure about their marketing budget. So I think it's amazing. So then, is there anything like eyes opening in the report of this year Performance Index 17?
Yeah, I think the report, first of all, again, we saw over the years, we saw a significant evolution in the type of media sources and consolidation. Okay, consolidation for sure, merger and acquisitions. The market, as everyone knows, has the big players which are dominant. We see again in gaming, it's more spread out. Okay, so of course, Meta, Google, right, Apple are the big ones, TikTok in a way, right? But we have the gaming ad networks, which are very have a significant footprint, right? AppLovin and IronSource, Unity, etc. As well. But in non-gaming, it's the concentration between Google and Meta, especially, is much higher. So in gaming, there's more of a playing field, an even playing field. I think that when we look at the findings of the report, of the last report, okay, Performance Index 17, we can see that on Android, for gaming, of course, Android is game Google is by far the dominant force, okay? It's Google and the rest. We can see that again, we're talking about number one in every single genre except hyper casual, okay, where it was second. Which makes sense. People usually don't, I think, search for that kind of, they just go to the App Store. But the gap from the second place is significant. We also saw beyond that, it's not only scale, it's also quality, right? Because the quality of Google actually improved by 6%, the retention score improved in H1 2024, which is this index compared to the previous index. So they're doing something right, that's for sure. Dominating on Android, which is their part of their, of course, their company. AppLovin also is doing well, right? They have risen in ranks to number 2 and number 3 in the power and volume rankings in gaming Android. Their share of wallet increased. Their retention score, pretty much the same. This time around, increased by just 2%. Unity, number 3 in the rankings, actually down one slot. Their success was driven by match games and shooting. This is where they rank second globally. Meta Ads was number 4. They came in second in casino, mid-core games, and sports and racing games. But the social network, again, they lost 2 positions in the volume ranking. So this is Android. iOS, Apple Search Ads is dominating, just like Google is in Android. Number 1 retention score, number 1 in the rankings in all categories, with exception of hyper casual. But again, when we look at share of wallet, I think what's interesting is that it decreased slightly in H1. So although they are dominating, they're not extending their lead. They're not becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. They're more or less reached some sort of plateau here in the rankings. And AppLovin is third, and it climbed to second in the power ranking and third in the volume ranking. It gained a lot of market share, but its retention score or quality score was still lower than Apple Search Ads.
Of course, I mean, it's insane how AppLovin just had the biggest company's budget and climbed up in the score. Like, I mean, when you think about the industry, like from now to the first index, like AppLovin wasn't even there. Like, it's insane, honestly.
Doing very well. And by the way, I think we should also mention honorable mention to Moloko.
Yes.
I think they're really moving up. They are ranked fourth in the power ranking in iOS. And their share of wallet is increasing, especially in like tier one markets, North America, Western Europe. So definitely worth mentioning. Yeah.
Yes, and actually, Moloko has been also really good in APAC. So it leads me to my next question: are you seeing some insight country-wise, or is it going in US and outside of US?
No, I think that again, I don't see anything dramatically different. Again, we especially in gaming, right? Because gaming is such a global landscape, right? It's everyone's running in so many markets, or a lot of apps or a lot of games are running in many markets across the globe. So yeah, non-gaming there are differences, I think, but in gaming, again, we have the dominant self-reporting networks, SRNs, and then the gaming ad networks as dominant forces. But there are others. Again, we see the rise of rewarded advertising is coming back. A lot of networks there coming back into the rankings. Yeah. So again, I think when we look at the gaming side of things, there's quite a variety.
Yeah, definitely align. Shani, last question but not least, what's next?
Oh wow, what's next? Predictions. This is like the worst because the only thing I can say everything's gonna change complete no. Things just change and change and change, so it's really hard to keep up. But I do think that we will see some different rankings in the next index, especially with the modeling coming back, I think, right? We just announced this that we're doing also this with Meta. Meta is going back into modeling for attribution. So I definitely think that that will change things for Meta. Google is also, I think, heading in that direction, if you ask me. And I expect also to see differences there in next year. Rewarded will continue doing well. Video ads, of course, video advertising, rewarded video is going to dominate. So yeah, this is what I see. And in terms of different rankings, which we're exploring, and again, it all depends on scale, right? Just like I explained before, right? It's about scale. And even though we do have, of course, many partners, for instance, we look at the CTV index or out of store rankings index or a web index. Let's see next year if we have a sufficient scale. I hope so, to show rankings for that as well.
Okay, I mean, I think the report is in good hands with you, Shani, and thank you doing it. Honestly, like I think the impact you had is massive. I'm seeing all my LinkedIn with this index, so kudos on you, and I can't wait to see how it evolves. Thank you so much for listening to us, and don't hesitate, of course, to add Shani and follow us Flyer. And thank you so much for taking the time, Shani.
Great. Thanks a lot. It was a lot of fun, and yeah, looking forward to seeing it online.
See you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, I hope you liked it. Don't hesitate to share and also click in the bio. You will have the link from the report. And if you don't want to miss the next one, just subscribe. Take care. Bye bye. And see you soon in Rosan Society.